Hello, welcome to our webinar. Great to see you and great to see that you found your way to the webinar. Um, to start, just some technical info. You can see on the right side or when you're on mobile of the screen, um, on the right side on a computer, and when you're on mobile below the video, you can see the chat box. You can use that for feedback while in the webinar. And maybe a good idea uh, just to say who you are and where you're from and where you're watching from. And hi, Elena. Great to see you. Hope you will enjoy this. When you're on our website watching, you know you have the possibility of downloading a worksheet for this webinar. When you haven't done it yet, you can do it afterwards. The questions in the worksheet will be asked here, and you can answer them when necessary, when you want. So, the takeaways of this webinar, what you will learn or what you will take with you from this webinar. We do a small introduction of Druid growth and the understanding the origins of modern Druidism. We do a topic on how you can engage and tap into the knowledge of the Druids and how Druidry can change your life. And last topic would be how you can make contemporary modern Druidism relevant to yourself. So, welcome. Great to see you found the chat. Maybe you can, when you're chatting, leave in the chat box what attracts you to Druidry and how you are interested in this topic and this webinar. So, to introduce myself, I am a Druid in the Grove of Anu, which is a Druid Grove, part of the worldwide network of Druid Groves, that is the Order of Bards, Ovids and Druids, shortly called the OBOT. I have founded this Druid Grove together with my wife, Karen, who is doing the production of this live stream, and will monitor the chat and everything. In 2019, we did this, and the grove is located in the Killarney area, and we can show you a picture of how it's located. When you see the small yellow house slightly below the middle, that's the Anachmoor, which is the basis of the Grove of Anu. And we are called the Grove of Anu because of the two mountains that are in our backyard. You see the highest mountain in the back is the Western Pep, and here you see both of the Peps of Anu. The Peps of Anu, so called by the Tuatha De Danann, the first people who came to Ireland years and years ago, and they had a mother goddess, a fertility goddess called Anu or Danu, sometimes called Dana. She is known all over Europe, and they found these two mountains that are here next to the Grove of Anu as to be her breasts, so-called the Peps of Anu. On the land of the Grove, we also have a holy well. It's a well that has been there for many centuries. The oldest maps I could find of the area, it is already shown there. And of course, we call it Anu's Holy Well. And the waters that would be pushed up by the weight of these mountains would come from the well. So to start with the first question, you can put it on your worksheet if you have one, or in the chat. What would be your favorite animal? And you can choose, is it an existing animal, like a badger, your cat or your dog or any bird? Is it an extinct animal, like a mammoth? Or maybe even a mythical animal, like a unicorn or a dragon? We see already the cat. Very nice. So you have your worksheet in front of you, and you can put it in there. So more about us. Karen and I have been Druid in the Druid order, the Order of Bards, Hobbits, and Druids for many years, almost 20 years, I think. We have led groves and seed groups of the order since 2007 in the Netherlands and in Ireland. When we started in Ireland, we had a good pickup by the Irish Times, who featured one of the events I was with on its front page, the Christmas edition 2 years ago. We more or less became the house druids of the Irish Times because we already had an interview in the Christmas edition of last year. And this year, I had a small interview, a small topic about how to celebrate the winter solstice. So for 3 years in a row on the Irish Times isn't bad at all. We also have been to many festivals where we do workshops, drum circles, processions. We will be there with groups of druids. We do tarot layings, workshops, rituals. This is Castlefest, where we were with many friends and 20,000 people gathering there to have a good time at the festivals. So, how did we become druids? Why? How did it start? Well, originally, like many of us, we were brought up in some kind of a religion. For me, it was Roman Catholic, but I more or less lost contact with the organized religion, but still looking for meaning. Always interested in Celtic mysticism, in Arthurian legends, in Celtic music and things like that, and reading books, history books about the Dark Ages, Mists of Avalon, Arthurian legends, looking for meaning. And in the Arthurian legends, I hopped upon a man called Merlin, a magician, but also a druid. And I thought, okay, that would be nice if there is still something like druids. And because in a world of ruled by money, greed, heading for an economical crisis, I thought maybe there is something there. And yeah, I joined the Grove. What was very nice to see that as member of a Grove, or even the teachings of the Druids, the order Druids order would be spiritual, but not necessarily religious. So there would be no dogma, there would be no rules, but there would be love for nature. There would be seeing nature in a river, in a mountain, seeing nature in other people, seeing the divine in a mountain and in a river. So it became more or less a substitute for an organized religion where you can say everything is sacred. Everything is sacred. Of course, we see things that are not so sacred. When we see garbage dumps, when we see big industries polluting the air, polluting the waters, we say, okay, nature itself gives us a very nice and beautiful environment, but we as humans are not as good with nature. And I think if we want to be stewards of nature, we should preserve it. Anyhow, why? They say it costs money to preserve it. Combating climate change costs money, but it completely makes sense because even if we don't combat climate change, we will have cleaner air, we will have cleaner waters, cleaner oceans, we will have cleaner land, and the yields, the crops we grow on it will be more nutritious and have more vitamins and everything. So everything is sacred in Druidism. For me, Druidism has it all. It's spiritualism, it's connecting to nature, it gives an answer to the crisis we are in the world. And I really love the freedom of dogma. So maybe we can talk a bit about what your path is. Is there any spiritual path or religion or organization which you identify with now? And think about it. Would this path you are following, would it be contrary to Druidism? Would it be complementary? We have in our grove, we have a lot of people who identify as Christians, and they say what we can do, what we see, is that Druidism is complementary to Catholicism, because creation, even if we believe in the creation myth or believe in the nature, we see that the creation as it is more served with Druidism than with having ownership of the earth, because ownership of the earth means you have to be good for the earth. So if your religion says you are the owner of this place, you have to be good for it. And most of mankind in the last 200-300 years has not been good for nature and has not been good for the earth. So we more or less, could be heading for a catastrophe or something. So where did we come from as Druids? The first topic we want to talk to you about. The Druids, when it started is not exactly known, but what we do know is that when the Romans came to Western Europe, to conquer Western Europe, to make Western Europe or make the world part of the Roman Empire, and one of the first Romans that came was Julius Caesar, and he made notes. He wrote things down, which nobody did here in our place at the time. And he wrote down that he found Druids, and he found a good established number of Druids, which indicates that there must have been Druids for hundreds of years, because they were already organizing themselves. They had teachings, they had pupils, but they also had gatherings. For instance, in Anglesey Island. And what we do know, so they might have been Bronze or Iron Age, 600 BC or before. They would not necessarily have built the megalithical structures. There's no proof of Druids doing that. Structures like Stonehenge and Newgrange. But at that time, Julius Caesar said we have three types of Druids. We have bards, that would be the keepers of the lore. So that would be the storytellers, the magicians, the musicians, the singers, and the keepers of stories. They would know practically every story that was known in the time. You had the ovates, they were the doctors, the shamans, the medicine men, and you had the druids. They would act as priests or as judge, or even in smaller communities as chieftains. So where did the ancient Druids go? Well, two things have contributed to the demise of ancient Druidry, which was the great Roman Druid massacre in Anglesey in Wales, and 54 in the current age. So that's why we know they were organized. So they were together, a large bunch of Druids in this place, in what we could call a gorset, and they were there. And they were massacred by the Romans. They thought they were a threat, and everything. So that's when the first good number of Druids were killed, and the rest of them were slowly driven out by the coming of Christianity. We know for sure that many people who were into Druidism, and when their tribe converted to Christianity, they were becoming monks or priests or whatever. So that slowly went away. Then, in the 17th century, there was a renewed interest in Celticism and in the ancient thing, the ancient rites, the ancient knowledge, and people started investigating that again. And in the 17th century, we had the second phase of Druidry, which was the Druid revival. It was very much Christianized. It was very Masonic. So there were, like the Freemasons, there were gathering. It was like the Lions clubs or Rotary clubs, clubs of men coming together, and in this time under the guise of Celtic spirituality, additional Celtic spirituality. They wrote books. I have one here, which is a very thick one, the Bardas, and it's I wouldn't recommend reading it. It's very vague and very, yeah, not as we know it now. It was looking back at Druidry and trying to figure out how it was, but even at the time it was recognized as not very historical or not very remembering of the Druids. Lots of Druid orders came and went in this time in the 200 years that followed, and Druidry led most of it as a small niche of spirituality or knowledge or whatever. Then in the 60s of the last century, there came a man called, his name was Ross Nichols, and he had a Druid name, Nguyen, and he started a newer kind of Druidism. He went away from the Renaissance Druidism. He took things from it which were good. He investigated ancient Druidism, took from that what was good, and mixed it up into a new holistic view that we can call modern Druidism or contemporary Druidism, which is preserving the good things of the two things that came before it, and added new things that were relevant for the time. So Druidism has become a thing relevant of today and age. So we have someone saying, Wendy, love the connection with nature and Mother Earth. Is it the way it should be? My interest is historic way for healing. My interest is in the historic way for healing. Yes, healing is one of the things modern Druids do. Modern Druids would be earth keepers. They would be the preservers of nature. They would love nature. They would connect with nature. There would even be tree huggers. No problem. We would go out into nature, go out to do our spiritual rituals and things like that. We follow the wheel of the year. So every season we go out, like the summer solstice, the winter solstice, celebrate that. The last years we didn't do it much together. We did a lot of it online, but normally we would definitely go into our yards or into fields or in forests or in beaches. And yeah, and we would be healers, we would be earth keepers, we would be shamans, modern shamans. So hopefully you can recognize yourself in it and recognize a future method of working with it. My second topic of today would be how being a druid or a druidist can change your life. We have as we study Druidism, a journey of self-development. That means when you become involved in Druidism, you start as, well, you could say a Druidist. you won't be a druid immediately. It took me more than 20 years to become one. And but you would be a follower of a druid path, a druidist. You would create a relation with the natural world. So you would create a relation with the world around you. And if you live in a town or in a city, it can be a park or a forest nearby. When you live like us in the mountains, we have the rocks, the stones, we have the rivers, we have the streams, we have the wells, and they all are our connection with the natural world. We go out in there every day. We just, yeah, we build this relationship. We experience deeply the wheel of the year. When the year starts after the winter solstice, this time of the year, when we're together inside and working together, we feel a kind of a rebirth. So a new cycle begins, and the cycle is also a rebirth. And as we grow after the rebirth, we go into Imbolc in February and into Alban Eilier, the autumn, the spring equinox. And in this time, we grow. We grow. Our year grows and we grow again as well. And we become mature at Bjeltena. And we go into the summer solstice, where we become inspired and warm and grow. And the summer solstice would be the time when, if the year of the wheel was the year of life, the summer solstice would be the time when we become musicians, when we become mothers and fathers, when we slowly go out from being a child to a young adult, and we grow older and we grow further in the autumn equinox, when the time of harvest comes, and when we reach our middle ages and 50s and 60s and whatever, and we come to the age of wisdom, as the year ends at Samhain and the winter solstice, creating a full cycle every year. And at these 8 points of the year, we as Druids always stand still by what we are doing, by what the time brings. I spoke to a couple of students of us the last weeks, and one of them said, "Since I studied Druidry, the seasons and the weather and how the nature evolves through the year. It grows from the start till the harvest and then down to earth again. I have never experienced it as much as I'm doing now. It's so different. So birth, growth, harvest, and decay. And the funny thing is, when you see that life and nature, everything revolves in circles, then you can see that the old man or the old woman at the end of the cycle is going to be reborn again, dying and reborn. And sometimes we can see how babies and old people are more or less closer to each other than you think. They love each other very much. But have you ever seen the wisdom in the eyes of a very young child already? So as Druids, we become better individuals, complete individuals. Sometimes we become nicer persons, open-minded. We learn to accept dogma. We also learn to be with what happens on the earth and showing what can be done better. We maybe become less judgmental. We become more of the observers. And as an observer, we can improve our life on a day-by-day basis, because that's what Druidry is also all about. It is about being a better person today than you were yesterday, and aiming to be a better person tomorrow. And on what topic you would be a better person is up to you. You can sometimes say, I'm going to have a less environmentally footprint, my smaller footprint on the earth tomorrow than I have today. You don't have to be at the end point, but if you do a little step every day, in a year you would have taken 365 small steps, which amount to a very big one. And what you can do in 1 year might not be significant in your feeling, but if you do this for 10 years and you look at the progress you are making in 10 years, it's immense. You can't even imagine right now that if you start improving yourself on small baby steps on a day-by-day basis, where you are in 10 years, you'll be astounded by it. What we also do in Druidism, and especially in the growth a lot, is going deeper into ourselves, going more into our spiritual selves through meditations, and especially guided meditations. We have guided meditations in our monthly meetings. Karen is the specialist in that. She's also always very, people are always very grateful for what she does in the meditations. And for you watching this webinar and signing up to our website, in this webinar environment on the website, you'll find one of the guided meditations by Karen, and it will be available right after this webinar. So look into that and see where see how we do it, and see what it can do for you, these guided meditations. So the last step: how can you make contemporary Druidism relevant to yourself, and what will you experience as a Druidist? In the beginning of this webinar, I asked you to think of your favorite animal. When you weren't there yet, you can do it right now. And if you look at your worksheet, you can write down your favorite animal. Think about it. Think about this animal, and think about the qualities of the animal. For instance, if you have thought about a badger, you can think about a smart, cunning, resilient animal. Also very much an animal that loves to be in groups, someone who loves to be in the family, and someone who also, when danger is there, the badgers they wouldn't bother to be in their lair for 24 hours till the coast is clear again. So think about your spirit animal. What qualities, what properties does it have, and how do they reflect on you? And when you have time in a separate window, maybe Google it. Google the word badger spirit animal, or spirit animal cat, spirit animal dog, whatever you have. Google that and write it down on your worksheet. And so, how would Druidism then be for you? Would you be open enough and open-minded enough about spirit animals? Could you believe in a spirit animal? Could you believe in a spiritual helper? If so, you're bang on. You're right. You're good to follow a druidic path. If you're a bit cautious about what can a spirit animal mean to me, how does this work, I would say maybe open your mind and dive deeper into the world of the spirit animal. We will, after this workshop, we will probably do a workshop about spirit animals, and you can follow it, how it works and how it would be. We did it before the lockdowns, and we will do it again in our workshop space later. But sometimes thinking about the spirit animal, or even becoming a druid and be open about it, is getting out of your comfort zone. And you know the things about the comfort zone. The comfort zone is this place around you where you are safe and nothing really happens. The things that do happen is when you leave your comfort zone. That's where the fun happens. That's where the adventure happens. And that's how I experience being a druid too. Sometimes it is being out of your comfort zone, going to complete strangers or going into the newspaper, coming into the newspaper and being recognized as Druids. And you sometimes say, oh, what would the neighbors say? And I can only say, they love it. They really enjoy it. So hope you can enjoy this. You can enjoy this too. So how can you make contemporary Druidism relevant to yourself? And how will you experience being a Druidist? Well, relevant to yourself is the growth you will experience when you become and when you get involved in Druidism. You will learn a lot about nature around you. You will learn a lot about living consciously, living ferocious, living with nature. You will learn about how it is to follow the year, to grow, to discover yourself. You discover new things of yourself in Druidism. You discover new depths in the meditations and things like that, and how it can be relevant to the people around you. When you become a better person, the people around you will love you more. And when you become a better person, people around you will, or even the world around you, will change with you. You don't necessarily have to be, have to protest against everything. You don't have to be an activist, but you can be an example. You can lead by example or live by example. And that's what's relevant now. What Druidism will also teach you are a lot of practical skills. Practical skills meaning we do a lot about horticulture, permaculture, uh, environment, living, making the world a better world. We do manifesting, manifesting change. For instance, if you look at your worksheet, the last question on the sheet would be, what will you manifest? What will you do the next year? This is a good time. This is the time we make good intentions. But what I would really challenge you to do is look at yourself in a year's time and what will you have manifested? On what level have you improved? Have you done courses? Have you done personal development? Have you done steps to create, to be better in the environment, to create a better environment? Did you do things for the environment? What will you have done? What baby steps will you have taken? So I would suggest you write 3 of these baby steps down. 3 steps on which you will improve your life for the coming year. Then fold it away, date it again, 28th December 2022, open it again, and look what you will have achieved. That's how we as Druids also work. We challenge each other to give feedback on each other. We are also a community. We meet every month. At the moment, our Druid Grove meets every month on Zoom for a Druid lesson. And of course, we have in the Grove, we have a workshop space, which will be opened again when we can meet with larger groups like 10, 12 people. You can come here. If you come from afar, we have a small B&B in the house with 2 guest rooms, so you can even stay here. And we already had lots of people from the Grove in the last year staying here. So that's it. We're all about exploring and experiencing exciting ideas. So I have told you more or less how we became Druids and where the Druids came from, how they evolved to modern Druids. I've told you about how being a Druidist can change your life. And I tried to explain how Druidism is very relevant in the current day as age as a spiritual path. Karen, can I ask you, are there some questions which I can answer at the moment for a question and answer session? Can you put one up on the screen for me? Does the dragonfly have a special meaning to druids? They keep coming around me and landing even past 2 years. The dragonfly as a spirit animal is, yeah, he has properties. You can Google them. What I would say a dragonfly is um, is um, is an animal that dances through life. It is very liminal. It's a very spiritual animal. They light up in the dark, so they give light. And if you connect with a dragonfly, it can tell you to 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 dance more in life, to enjoy more life, to be like a dragonfly, to be inspired by its properties. What all dragonfly also can do, they can fly high of their wings, and they can dive deep into problems that arise for them. They can focus on problems because they have the oversight and have the focus on going down. Hope that answers your question. I would definitely Google dragonfly spirit animal as a search term. Also, will give you a lot of insights in this. By the way, we have a card deck. I can't show it here, but we have a card deck which is called the Druid's Animal Oracle. You can buy it, or there's even an app of it, where you can find all spiritual meanings and guidance of what animals can do for you. It's about 50 cards that with 50 animals, also mythical creatures. There are dragons in there, and all the Western European birds the stag and the boar and the heron and the hawk. It's a very nice thing to learn more about what an animal can be for you, can do for you. We have more questions, Karen. Yeah, sure. Mhm. Can you tell us more about the monthly online meeting? Thank you. Yes. What we have for members of the Grove. All members of the Grove would get a course in Druidism. It's an online course. It's like the environment. If you watch this on our website, it's the environment you are in right now. Is the online school we have, and the Druid course consists of monthly new topics. So we get on average slightly more than a topic a week. And every month we get together, and not like this, not in a one-on-one, but really in a Zoom meeting where we can all share together the knowledge. We can ask questions. We do stuff like this. So every month we do give the topic of the month some attention in the Zoom class. After that, we normally would do a meditation guided by Karen, which is the most popular part of the Zoom meetings every week or every month. And after that, we have a Q&A. And then after that, we unmute everybody, and we just have a Druid cafe to end. And we have sometimes we went to bed while the Druid Zoom meeting went on and on and on, and till midnight or whatever. If people enjoy that, that's perfectly fine. So it's really an online Zoom meeting with topics, meditations, question and answers, and socializing. That's the content of the monthly Zoom meeting. I keep getting messages from Freya in Norse mythology. Well, Freya, she is the Norse sister of Anu, we can say. Freya is, of course, the sister of Freyr, and Freya are the Norse gods of fertility. So their fertility in reproduction of getting children, but they're also the goddesses. Freya is also the goddess of the land, of fertility of the land. She's the name giver of our day, Friday. It's Freya's day. So she's a very important. Yeah, she's very important in the whole world in that perspective. That's giving this name, but it's definitely about fertility, growth, development, new adventures. That's where she guides you. That's where she can guide you. She's a very interesting mythological goddess. Do we have more questions, Karen? I'm told Freya is Maria Magdalena, and she is coming maybe as Diana. Yeah, we are not dogmatic as Druids. if if um, if you can make the connection between Freya and Maria Magdalene, that's perfectly fine. Um, there are similarities, of course. Um, Maria Magdalene was at the time, because she wasn't married, but she had a relationship with Jesus. Um, she was sometimes misregarded a bit, and Freya is also open-minded on her sexual and friendly relationships with people. So in that perspective, it could be, and if you can find it, I'm fine with that. So those were the questions, I think. Most of you watching this webinar have already signed up as a friend of the Grove or signed up for this webinar and are familiar with our online environment. Being here, coming here is like we offered. It's a free webinar. There's no obligations, and we always think friendship should be free. We do, however, have the opportunity to become a full member of the Grove, which will give you access to the online course we spoke about with the monthly new lessons and new lessons every month and the Zoom meetings. After a year, you will progress to the advanced class. So it's an ongoing thing, and this is a good time to become a member of the Grove for just €9 a month, and we even have an offer at the moment. When you join for a year, sign up for a year, you'll get 2 months discount, so you'll end up at $7.50 a month. We have a few bonuses with the Grove membership. We have free subscription to this wonderful magazine, which you will receive in your mailbox every month. Pagan Ireland. It's a new magazine. It just started at the autumn equinox this year. This is the second edition, and becoming a member will give you access to both the editions. When you become a member and you stay for longer, we also do once a year a free personal coaching session with me or with Karen, and of course the opportunity to act as participants in our online and live ceremonies. Every about 8 or 9 weeks, we do a live or online ceremony, and it would be in a format like this, but then with more participants, and you would be able to join that and participate in it. So if you want to join, let me know it. Type Druidist in the command, type yes in the commands, and we will contact you, or you can look up below in the course after this, where you will find a sign-up form to finalize the process. So that's on the last lesson of this webinar. I hope you really enjoyed being here in our fireplace. The mother of the grove is joining too.
Thank you for watching, all your comments, and I hope you enjoy the meditation. It's about midwinter, so it's really good to go a little bit deeper in the earth. And have a nice day, holidays, work time, and hope to see you somewhere, somehow later. Bye.
Hi everybody, and hope to see you soon. Send us an email if you want to know more. You'll find it on our website, on our Facebook page, whatever. Goodbye.